Hey guys, welcome back. Jimmy Washam Fishing. Thank you for tuning in. Today, as promised, we're going to go over how to tie the FG knot. Now we're going to try to break this down for practical purposes. I'm going to use some really heavy braid, about the best I've got. I've even put a highlighter on it and try to make it stand out better. I've got some 25-pound pink fluorocarbon, so you know, you can knock on me about the training aids, but they're to make it as visible as we can. This FG knot, my most common way to tie it is to 10 or 15 pound braid on a finesse outfit spinning rod with a 10 all the way down to 6 pound fluorocarbon. It's also great if you want to put a mono leader. I like to put a mono leader on my topwater sometimes, on my topwater braid, tying, you know, a couple of foot of mono. That would be with 40 to 50 pound braid with up to a 20 or 25 pound mono leader. It's just the FG knot is gonna, as you'll see in the video, gonna be extremely slimline, super strong if you tie it right. There's a couple of little pointers I'll give you that I made the mistake on at first, and I thought the knot was junk, but I stuck with it long enough. I got to where I confidently tie it correctly, which is very important, and it's absolutely the best knot out there. So there's a lot to it. I'm gonna break it down step by step. The way that I learned, it's a spin-off of watching a Major League Fishing publication where Brent Ayler demonstrated how he ties it. I've twisted a couple of things to where it was a little bit easier for me, so I'm not taking credit for the way that I'm tying the knot. Brent Ayler really broke it down, made it easy for me, and then a lot of practice, I found where I could tweak a couple things and tie the knot better. So here we go. All right, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with my leader. This is some fluorocarbon, and I'm going to take what I feel is about the right amount. I'm sitting in a chair. This is close to the level that I would be sitting if I was sitting in my Ranger at my little workstation at the back of the front deck. I'm going to take the spool. I'm going to put it under my right foot. Now I'm going to take the tag end of my spool, of my leader spool, and I'm going to run it under my left knee. So I've got it running from under my right foot, up under my left knee, around my left leg. Now I want to bring the end of it the way that I know about the distance that I need, and I use my right foot. I can move the spool to me or away to give me a little bit of extra or less, or take up line, but I know I need about enough to sit pretty much normal and put the tag end in my teeth. So, and I'm not suggesting here that you go chewing on line. Definitely your dentist will advise you not to do that, but that's the distance that I use to lightly hold it in my teeth. Now I'm going to take my braided line, and the distance that I want here, this is sort of a guess, but I want roughly about, I don't know, 2 feet. But what I know that I need, I'm going to double it up, take it all the way down to where the tag end is at my fingers. I'm going to take my pinky and my ring finger, my right hand, and I'm going to wrap it 4 times. This loop that I've created a loop. I'll wrap it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the trick, and I happen to do it perfect that time. You want to wrap it tightly to where it doesn't slip during the knot, and you want the right amount of distance there. And I'm going to say it's about 3 inches of distance. But what you want when you start tying the knot, that braided line has to have enough, or the main line has to have enough flex to it to where the leader can, basically what I'm going to refer to it as, it can eat the main line. It has to start eating it inside of the knot. If it's too tight, if this gap is too short, you can't get enough of an angle and enough of a flex to the main line to allow the leader line to actually eat it as it wraps. That'll make more sense here in a minute. So, loop, wrap 4 times, And I'm gonna forewarn you, I wrap it tight, my fingers will turn purple by the time I'm done with the knot. Now, when you get the distance right, you're gonna take your leader line, you're gonna go under that loop that is between, as you can see, I've got thumb and ring finger. I leave my middle finger open on my right hand. I use my left hand to actually guide the leader line. So run it through the main line, under it, should I say, and back out. Now all I'm going to do is wrap each side. If it's 10-pound test line or less for my leader, I'm going to wrap it 24 times. If it's anything above that, I'm going to wrap it 20 times. So now we're going to count. I've went under the loop, and now I'm going to go around the top. And this is, my angle's a little bit off because I'm not used to holding it in front of a camera. So I'm going to go around the top, pinch it with that ring finger. You want to keep your tag end of your leader line tight as you wrap each time. And then I'm going to go under. Under. Now I'm going to go back over. I'm counting 3, 4. Make sure we can see that clearly. Over. And back under. It's just a figure 8. That's 5, 7, 8. And you see how I'm allowing, I have enough angle on the main line or the braid in this scenario to where it's the main line or the leader line is starting to eat it. 9, I'm keeping good tension on that leader line on the tag end of it to make sure I don't get slack inside the knot. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, just figure 8 it. 16, 17, 18, 19. I'm going to stop at 20 for practical purposes. If, like I said before, if this main line, if this leader line was 10 pound or less, I'm going to go 24 wraps rather than 20. So now I'm going to let some blood back into my fingers there, unwrap it. And here's what you have. You have a very tightly woven, just a wrap. All that is a wrap. At this point, it is not a complete knot. And from here on out, there's a couple more steps. Don't let it overwhelm you. It's simple. And here we go. The first thing I like to do is make sure that the tag end of my main line, which is the braid in this example, is not twisted around the main portion of it. Sometimes you'll find that it's like that and you don't want to finish your knot that way. You want it all slimline, coming out of the wrap to where it's not twisted. So now that I have that, I'm going to take my tag end of my leader. All right, we're going to lay it on the main line, on the main branch of the main line is how we'll refer to it. We're going to lay that there. Now we're going to take the tag end of the main line and we're going to do 3 half hitches around both of these strands. Really simple. Now here's the kicker to this before I get going. What you want to do is 2 of them need to be one direction. The last one needs to be the opposite direction. The way that I've taught myself to remember that is forward, forward, back. So what that means is I'm going to take in my half hitch, I'm going to take the tag end of the main line and I'm going to go forward with a half hitch, which means I come on the forward side of the line that I'm going around and I'm going to come back through the loop and pull it down. One thing that I like to do with that tag end to make it much more manageable, it's like it kind of sticks and it just makes it easier to use, is I'm going to wet it. Pull that through my mouth to get it wet, and now it's going to manage a lot easier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go forward and back through the loop I make. That's 1 half hitch. Pull it good and tight. I'm going to wet the tag end again and do that again. Now once again I'm going over the main branch of the main line and the tag end of the leader line with the tag end of the main line. Once again, one more forward half hitch. Then I'm going to go for my third half hitch back. So I start on the back end of the line I'm wrapping, and then I come through that loop, pull it down tight. Almost there. Now, we're going to do the exact same thing, only we're going to delete the tag end of the leader line. And what I mean by delete is we're just going to pull it back and not include it in the next 3 half hitches. Same process, remove the leader line tag end. So I'm going to go forward. After I wet the tag end, a forward hitch, pull it down, another forward hitch, pull it down, and now a back hitch, or reverse the direction. Pull it down tight. Now that is snug, those half hitches are snug. I've got my tag end, and that is your FG knot. Now to clean that up, this is a very important part. This is where I messed up initially. So it does not hurt, because there's, believe it or not, as tight as that looks, there is a little bit of slack in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the main line and the leader line before I do any cutting. I'm going to get a good grip on both of them, and I'm going to pull them. And it basically just stretches all the slack out of that knot. And now you can cut this tag end of your leader line pretty close, but you can't cut it as tight as like I used to on a double uni. You can't flush it all the way up, and I don't know the best way to tell you the distance there. Maybe the thickness of one strand of a skirt material, roughly. And I've also found that it helps, instead of making a really clean and precise cut or snip on that tag end, if you'll kind of slowly, almost if you can use the dull part of your pliers or your braid scissors and almost flatten or roughen the end of that tag, then it seems to help hold better. You can cut it a little bit shorter. But I'm going to cut this. I'll do my very best to show you the distance. But I want to leave just enough to see that burr. It's maybe half the thickness of a credit card. It's probably about a sheet of paper's thickness is where I want to leave that burr, and it helps if you can get that little flat top to the tag end when you snip it, instead of cutting it with something super sharp and crisp and just cutting it flush. So the braid, if braid is your main line, which it generally is, then the braid tag end is not as important. You can get it, I'm not going to get it perfectly flush with the knot, but the beauty of it is if you leave, and you'll have to excuse me, these are not braid scissors, these are household scissors. We're in the process of moving. All of our stuff's boxed up, so my braid scissors are boxed up. But the beauty, after I snip that, and it would look much cleaner with braid scissors, but I'm going to leave just a little tag end on that braid, and the beauty of it is it frays out, and it has basically zero influence going through your eyes. And you might see a little piece of fuzz there, you know, see it while you're reeling it up your line. Not an issue for me, shouldn't be for you. So after I do that, I'm going to pull tight again and make for certain that nothing has come loose. It is just one solid strand of wrapped knot that will pass through so seamlessly. It's strong. It's the best knot there is. It requires some practice. I don't like to use the word difficult, but it's an extensive knot. It's not hard once you get used to it, but you've got to practice it. Make yourself do it. You know, if you're just trying to learn it, make yourself do it when you're fun fishing. If it's tournament time and there's money on the line, go back to something you're used to doing. But that's the way that I learned it. I played around with it and got efficient with it when there wasn't money on the line. And then I finally got to the point where I realized I'm a dummy if I'm not tying this knot. So I'm going to give you one more run through, in what I would call full-time speed to show you how quickly and efficiently it can be done. And that's going to be it. So please take your time, learn it. Holler at me if you got any questions. Drop a comment down there if you know a better way, a little pointer to do it. If you got any questions on it, we'll help you out any way we can. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you around the corner.